Good evening. I would like to call this Concord Township Zoning Commission meeting Tuesday, December 3rd to order. Okay, first up on the agenda is the call to order.
Okay, Mr. Terriaco?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Schindler?
Here.
Mr. Reppert?
Here.
Mr. Lingenfelter?
Here. Okay. The next item on the agenda now, I don't know if we'll do we have a quorum to vote on that for the September 3rd? Was everybody, who was it?
Three.
Somebody
I
else?
wasn't here.
Right,
Three
you
of
weren't.
us were here.
So we can,
Three out of five.
we got three, so we're
Yeah,
good.
we're good.
Okay. All right, so we have the approval for minutes. I have the September 3rd, 2024 hearing notes. Anybody have any comments? Changes, adjustments, edits? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the September 3rd, 2024 minutes as written.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion made and seconded by Frank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody opposed? No, two abstentions. So we have 3 ayes and 2 abstentions on the vote for the September 3rd minutes. So those are approved. Now for the October.
I have a few of them. Let me talk to the stenographer. Should be an R instead of an is. It's a lot of vernacular type stuff. Whether we're getting bad or the stenographer is just glancing right over it, I'm not sure which. R not is, R not or S, had not have, that kind of stuff.
Grammar.
So I have 7 of those.
Nothing that changes the intent of anything in here?
No, nothing.
Strictly grammatical.
Yeah. When I'm reading through it, should be seen, not see. So we should have been using the past tense instead of present tense. Things of that sort. So let me talk to her afterwards and we'll get that squared away.
Super.
Other than that, I'm good.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I pass the minutes as October 1st,
Okay.
as corrected by Harmon.
Can I get a second?
And I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one opposed? Abstentions? I have 1 abstention, so I have 4 ayes and 1 abstention for the October 1st approval of minutes, so those are approved. Now we will move to the correspondence portion of the meeting. Any correspondence? Mr. Schindler.
Mr. Chairman, I have none.
Okay, Mr. Reppert.
Mr. Chairman, I have none.
Okay. Mr. Peterson.
I have none, sir.
Mr. Terriaco.
I have none.
Wow, quiet in the community. That might be considered a good thing. I have no correspondence either, so we are good on the correspondence side. It's now Heather's turn. Zoning inspector report. Heather?
Okay. All right. So I just have a couple quick updates for you. If you want to hear about the November zoning permit activity report, we processed 21 zoning permits last month, which brought the year-to-date to 369 zoning permit applications total.
How does that, just out of curiosity, how does that stack up with, historically? Is that a lot, or is that?
Yeah, that's about average. About 350 permits per year.
So it was a little up, but nothing crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Good.
Most of that is for residential type projects, accessory buildings, fences, those kind of things. We were also busy doing some inspections. We went out at 85 different property inspections, checking on the progress of their zoning, of their construction activity, and issued 26 certificate of compliances. And that's what we issue once the project's been completed, and basically states that you've built everything per the approved zoning permit and you're good to go. At this past month, the trustees did have 2 public hearings on the proposed text amendments that were initiated by the zoning commission. They voted to approve with modifications. The amendments will be effective on December 20th, 2024. I'll be mailing you guys before the next meeting the replacement pages to put into your zoning resolutions, and I'll be posting the updated resolution on the township website as well. And then the only other thing I have is you'll see in your packet, I did have what I mailed to you, some additional materials for potential work session tonight, should you want to untable the old business item. I know these are some things that we've kind of put off due to some other applications, so I kind of refreshed that and included in a couple new suggestions and a couple questions for you, looking for some direction from the board in an effort to maybe come back at a subsequent meeting to talk about these items. So I can wait till we get under the old business if you guys want to talk about that. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all I have right now. Unless there's any
And
questions.
just out of curiosity, all the inspections you did you run into everybody kind of living up to expectations and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and no issues, no problems?
Generally, yes. Yeah. Every once in a while, there's a change.
Right.
But usually, it's nothing that can be just updated on the
curious.
permit. We always take modifications. You can always
Right.
projects have to change as things progress. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Solar panels, do you have to have a permit to put those on your house?
So the way we've been treating them right now, because we don't address them specifically in the resolution, well, first of all, the Lake County Building Department obviously would require permits for the electrical and any other alterations to the house if they're rooftop mounted or ground based. But when we get the questions at the office, we don't require a zoning permit for any kind of rooftop mounted solar because it's on the house. But the way I've been handling ground-based solar, based on our definitions, I've kind of looked at that as an accessory structure that we do have the ability to request a zoning permit for. So I've, on 2 occasions, actually requested someone file for a zoning permit for that solar, ground-based solar panel. But other than basically just making sure it's on the property and doesn't exceed the maximum height, we don't have really any specific regulations regarding where it can go in the property, screening or decommission if it, once it's no longer being used, or the amount of them, number of them on a property, which kind of leads me into what I was going to ask this board about later tonight, and I brought it up before, is that townships were given the ability to regulate small solar facilities, which are like solar panels that produce less than 50 megawatts of power. We are given the specific enabling legislation from the Ohio Revised Code to incorporate some of that into our zoning text. The Ohio Township Association put out a model resolution for some communities to kind of look at, to consider, should it be permitted uses, conditional, what do you want to regulate? Do you want to regulate any of them or all of them or none of them? Because it is the new technology, it is what people are doing now.
Yeah.
They're not doing some of the old stuff that we were talking about, maybe taking out of our resolution, like the large satellite dishes and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Any other questions? Any other issues? Okay. On to the next item on the agenda is public participation. And since the hall is teeming with residents looking to have something to say, it's going to take a while to get through this component, I think. I'm saying that facetiously. It doesn't appear we have anybody here, and we don't have anybody on the phone, so we can move forward with the public participation component. There's no one here. Let the record reflect that. New business. We have no items under new business. And under old business, we have a work session to review proposed zoning text amendments as outlined in a memo dated July 30th, 2024 for modifications to district uses. That's been tabled. And then establish a designated final date for completion of the sidewalk in accordance with the agreement between Concord Township Zoning Commission and IN9 LLC for the property located at Old Crowell Road and being parcel number 08A020-0000048-0. And that is tabled until the February 4th, 2025 meeting. And I was talking with Heather today, and there's probably a good chance we won't have a meeting for January, right, Heather?
As of right now, I don't,
No real reason.
nothing's been submitted
Right.
for the January agenda, so.
So at this point, I mean, it's still early. Obviously, something may come up of import, and we'll have to get together and convene our regularly scheduled meeting. But otherwise, we may not have a meeting in January, and then we'll be probably back at it full swing in February. I would think things will get back to normal. So I think at this point in time, unless anybody has anything they'd like to see added to the agenda or any other new items they wish to discuss.
Yeah, I'd like to bring up for two of you folks, and the other Rich is not here, unfortunately. But last month when this came on the agenda, IN9 was here to talk to us, and you were here and you were here and I was here, and that was it.
Right.
But 2 out of the 3 people who approved that action were not here. And I felt as acting chairman that it would be best to table it. They were here, they explained their position, what they wanted to do and what we wanted them to do, and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of discussion. Do I move the hydrants? Do I move the sidewalk? Whatever. And what we said was basically, do some of your work. Do some of your preliminary work. Do some of your options. Which way do you want to go? What do you want to do? What's the cost going to be? What's the duration going to be? When can you get it designed on the books? And come back. Because I did not feel as if it was best for us at a 4-member, 2 alternate member commission or meeting to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. So with that in mind, I don't know if you guys had questions or not as to why it's on the agenda again, but that's why.
I saw the video, so.
That's why. So I thought it would be best for us as a zoning commission to have that information in front of us, all of us, and then go from there. And maybe at that meeting, we can establish a date to get it on the books. We all know once it gets on the books, we want you to start now and finish by this time. Then we go into the construction and design and construction.
Right.
And so on and so forth. So that's the basis for it being here again. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was that's the problem now with Tuesdays, and that being election day. I work the polls, so I was in Mentor at St. Andrew's Episcopal Church there on what is it, Little Mountain or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was there from 5:30 in the morning until almost 9 o'clock that night. So that's a long day. And once you go in the building, if you're a poll worker, you are not allowed to leave. You are not allowed to leave. You can't leave to eat. You have to bring your own food, or you have to have Uber Eats come in or DoorDash or whatever. You cannot, or takeout, but you're not. Once you come in that building and they open up the polls, you are not allowed to leave the premises. So it's kind of an interesting rule, but so that makes for a long day. Yeah. Needless to say. And unfortunately, I couldn't be here. Otherwise, I wanted to be here because I think it was certainly an important issue. And unfortunately, not being here, that I appreciate your, what you decided to do. I think that was very judicious to do. I think that,
I didn't think there was any other way around it.
Right. Right.
It made it fair for both sides.
Right. They got time. I mean, this wasn't like this project was going to get started now. Okay. Bottom line, we missed the cement pouring days. Were way long ago, and today's weather is a perfect example of why. So, and it won't start back up until probably April. You know, I would think maybe late April, early May is when they can actually start thinking about doing concrete work again with a consistent basis. So they've got time to get it figured out. I'm not concerned. You know, if they want to have more comments in February, they're more than welcome. I mean, we certainly would never shut them down in terms of conversation if they want to talk about it. But you know, we're looking for a commitment. That's all. Just looking for a commitment. So.
I think one of the big issues that they have to decide is move the hydrants or move the sidewalk.
Right. And that, you know, and see that herein lies the issue with this whole thing. You know, we allowed a variance, okay? And in retrospect, that's what's biting us in the rear end with
Yes,
this,
it is.
okay?
Yes, it is.
And I have learned a very valuable lesson, I will tell you right now. And I can tell you from this point forward, I will never consider any variances outside of the standard zoning regulations on any kind of any sort of a site plan review or any building or anything else. The regulations call for it, then that's what you're going to do. There's no more variances. At least now, maybe the board would have a different opinion, and I'm one vote. But I can tell you, as the commission, as the chairman now, and as a member, I will never ever approve or even consider giving anybody any variances on anything. To follow the regulations, and this thing would have been done. You know, whether the hydrants needed to be moved or whether the sidewalks needed to go there or whether blah, 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 it would have been done. And you try to be nice. You look at the situation, you try to play the role of both sides and try to do its best. And you grant a variance, even though we had some opposition to that on the board, but we granted the variance, and then you poison the well. So the well's been poisoned. And I will never fall for that one again, ever. I learned my lesson. So.
Well, there's always good intent.
Well, was it
You know,
the board here or was it the trustees?
That was the board. That was us.
That was us?
Yeah, we granted the variance.
yeah.
And, you know, and at the time, I voted for the variance. I felt at that time it made sense. It just made sense. Now, looking back on that, things change. Now I'm not. I wish I would have done that. But you know, that's water over the dam.
Right.
But you got me, and you'll never get me again. That's that I can promise you. So,
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, it wasn't like a formal variance, like a BZA grants a variance.
Right,
It was a delayed construction.
Yeah, right.
It was a deviate. It was
and that's why the agreement.
that one
was
section
put in
under the
place.
zoning resolution that talks about the sidewalk says that the zoning commission may require the sidewalk, and that's what gave you the authority. Do we want to require it now or later
Right.
or at all?
Right.
And that's the leeway that was baked into the resolution, and that's
Right.
what Mr. Langenfelter is referring to.
Yeah, it's, you know,
for-
like I said, you want to be flexible. You want to try to, you know, extend the olive branch or whatever, however you want to deem it. And sometimes it doesn't work the way you expect it will. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll get it figured out.
Sure.
So, all right. If there's no other new business or no other issues to be brought up at this point in time, the next meeting will be January 7th, which means Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody on the board and everybody out there watching in the interwebs. And we can adjourn this meeting.